Welcome to Cake on Tuesday, where we spotlight the rule breakers, the underdogs who refuse to listen when everyone said it won't work. I'm Elizabeth Bieniek, and for the next 20 minutes, we're diving into another disruptive innovation story that proves sometimes the craziest ideas change everything. Today's guest is Sophia Deluz-Bhan. Sophia is the co-founder and COO of Search Atlas Group, a 30 million ARR portfolio of AI-powered search marketing platforms, serving enterprise clients including Roto-Rooter and Shutterfly. Since joining as co-founder in 2019, she has scaled the company from 2 million to over 30 million ARR and over 180 employees, leading the acquisition of Signal Genesis and the go-to-market strategy for Auto SEO, the company's flagship AI product. Sophia splits her time between Miami and Medellin, Colombia, where she also runs Search Atlas Sanctuary, a farm animal rescue she founded with her husband. Sophia, welcome to Cake on Tuesday.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to dig into your fun background here. Can you first, though, start by telling our audience a little bit about what sets your soul on fire about what you do right now?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. Building a company is, no joke. It's a lot of late nights and hard work. The things that really stand out that make it all worth it is one, when you hire people that you're very energized by and that you're excited to invest in. I think that is one of the absolute best parts of building a company is finding like those incredible people. And a lot of people on our leadership team have been with us for years and plan to stay with us really, on this whole journey. That to me is extremely rewarding, is those relationships that you can build. It's also sometimes hard to find those gems. So when you find them, like you really want to hang on. And I guess there's a lot of things that are really fun and exciting and that really, really energize us. In some ways, I think, especially building in this moment where so much is possible and you can now have departments that maybe 2 people and are doing the work that previously would have taken 10 or 20 people to do. It almost, my husband and I were talking about this, feels kind of like a video game. Like we find it hard to even go to bed at night because we're like, one more build, one more thing. Everyone at the company is like coding now. So I think it's really fun because it's this like whole new world where so much is possible that wasn't possible before. And yeah, it's almost like addictive finding out, what we can do. So those have been the things that I think are incredibly sort of like fulfilling and fun about building.
Sure. So you're in a really high growth area. You scaled the growth, congratulations, of your company quite highly. Also,
Yeah.
you're involved in an AI powered company during the entire explosion of AI. So
Yes.
talk to us a little bit about what this journey has been like and how has it been different from maybe you expected in 2019 when you took over it?
Yeah, well, we started off as a performance marketing agency. So we were providing services to, enterprise companies, and it was a lot of behind the scenes manual work and dependence on individual strategists to get those results. But we approached it with a really scientific mindset. My husband, Monik, comes from many generations of scientists and sort of applied that science to performance marketing because unlike different types of marketing, brand marketing, things like that, performance marketing is a science. Like people can debate all day about the best way to do SEO, but there is a best way to do SEO and a best way to do AI visibility. So we've really taken that scientific approach, and from the beginning, from day one, the goal was never to be an agency. The goal was to build technology to automate everything that a performance marketing agency does. So that's why it was really exciting that the evolution of technology allowed us to launch Search Atlas. Actually, we only launched it to the public in June of 2024. So all of our growth has been in the last 2 years. And we really cannibalized our first business, which was the agency, but it was a great cannibalization, I guess, because much more exciting to be building, an AI SaaS product. And how does it compare to what I thought it would be? I don't think I really had any expectations. I think that every day has been sort of a buckle up for the ride kind of phenomenon. And it's sometimes better to live that way and just kind of go with it. We've just always felt that if we work really hard and we try to do the right thing more often than the wrong thing, that things will kind of work themselves out. And so far, so good. I think what's been really exciting is the fact that essentially what we did was we applied AI to a problem that we spent a decade solving in a manual way. And that's allowed our product to be really, really deep and really effective versus, starting a company in a space because you see the opportunity, but then you don't really know what it is that you're building. So it's been like we feel good about that because we have so much depth behind it.
Yeah. Okay, I want to double down on that because you brought up a really interesting point. And I was just speaking with the CEO here in Austin on Friday who was talking about that same thing of you need to really understand the problem before AI can help you solve that problem. And I think a lot of people kind of try to put that in the opposite order and jump in and try and have AI build something and not really understanding the problem. So you mentioned this is something you understood the problem and this is something you were solving for 10 years before then applying AI. Can you talk about how important it is to do the groundwork first before you optimize?
Yeah, there's definitely multiple paths. And what I see happening right now, and credit to everybody who starts a company, right? Like it is an amazing thing to do. It is a hard thing to do. And I really respect everybody for doing it. The two paths that I see are one, people are taking this VC path where they raise a bunch of money, they spend a lot on sales and marketing, and in the background, they're scrambling trying to figure out how to make the product effective because it may be in
Yeah.
an industry that they actually don't come from. But the other path is the one that we've taken where we have done a lot of the quote unsexy work over the last 8 years of figuring out how to do performance marketing in a very scientific way. And it has allowed us to build a product that has a lot of depth and really answers the questions and the problems of agency owners and of in-house marketers. So I really do believe that it is going to be really hard to succeed long term with a thin product. And you need to have both breadth, but also like a deep amount of expertise because anything that's thin can also likely be easily replicated. Like if it took
Yeah.
you a month to make this product, then what competitive edge do you really have? It took us
Yeah.
like a decade of data collection and experimentation on hundreds of thousands of websites to build this. So my concern level that somebody can come in and vibe code Search Atlas in a month is extremely low,
Yeah.
which makes me feel good, right? Because in this era, you have to have moats, especially as everybody is sort of learning to code and feeling like they can go out and launch something themselves. But at the end of the day, we see the reactions from our customers and know that we have built something that's incredibly deep. And that I think is the ultimate moat.
I want to talk a little bit about this idea of disruptive innovation. You mentioned that your current product cannibalizes your previous product, but that was a choice. And I think when we're working in a world that is constantly disrupting itself, we have to also disrupt ourselves in order to be competitive. Can you talk about some of the decision making behind that to say, hey, I know this is going to cannibalize existing, but let's not go the safe route because we need to build for the future?
Yeah. I think we have like a real sense of pragmatism or realism about what the future looks like. And although I can't say and make very specific predictions on very specific timelines, the core thing that makes sense is if something is going to be more efficient, if it's going to be cheaper, if it's going to be easier to use, like at the end of the day, that thing is going to win. And what I've seen is certain people sort of putting their head in the sand because it could be an uncomfortable reality about how things are changing. So, for example, I guess, our platform touches on AI visibility, SEO, and the two of those are pretty interlinked. Google Ads, Meta Ads, and a couple other ads platforms. But let's say in the SEO community specifically, our product is very revolutionary because essentially what it does is it allows us to do what previously would have taken an entire expert team 3 months. And now those are thousands of tasks that we figured out how to do with a single deployment, like a one-click button. And it honestly created some uncomfortable waves within the SEO community because people are looking at this and they're like, oh no, this is what I used to charge 5K, 10K a month for, and it would take me months to do. But that's my business model. So I do have a lot of compassion, because I also have this, fear when new things launch. What does that mean for us and our company? But we have always really tried to take the approach of fighting this is not going to get it anywhere, right? Like you have to be realistic about where the future is and you have to sort of jump on that bandwagon. Otherwise, you're going to be the one that gets left behind. So you may as well try to be at the forefront because it's just obvious. Like if you can, instead of having like a huge marketing team and a huge agency, if you can use a software product to do this, like that's going to win out in the long term.
Yeah. So growing from 2 million to over 30 million ARR in a relatively short time, you're obviously doing something right. Can you talk a little bit about that growth journey and what was most surprising or painful or amazing in that journey for you?
Yeah. Well, so this has really all happened in less than 2 years. So it's
Well,
been a real journey. We're now over 5,000 customers, and we see such a diversity in our customer base. Anyone from a solopreneur, because, it's a PLG company. Our cheapest plan is $99 a month, which is accessible for most. So everyone from a solopreneur or a grandmother who wants to launch like a crochet website. Like this is somebody that contacted us recently. Like that's a customer of
it's
ours.
amazing.
And then yeah, exactly. Then you go all the way up to like the Fortune 1000 and enterprise brands. So it's been really cool to see how our product can help at every stage and every revenue stage and every team size stage. And growing from basically zero to 5,000 in the past 2 years, like of course, there's always challenges. Like every day, I'm solving some kind of problem. And to me, like I think the hardest thing is if I ever feel like we are letting a customer down because something didn't work perfectly or they couldn't understand it, because we take a lot of like pride in what we're doing. And the best part is when we see customer testimonials and we see these that are unbelievable, that it's like, you changed my life. Like I used to have this business that I was going to shut down because I was so stressed out about it. And now like my margins are better than ever. I can actually spend time with my family. We get reviews like that's so incredible. So those things keep us going. But I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Going from 0 to 5,000 customers is kind of, I don't want to say it's a shit show, but like, there's a lot that you learn along the way and a lot of mistakes that you make and things that you have to double back on. So getting a team that's really resilient and understanding that if you peek behind the curtain of any company, you're not going to find perfection. Nobody has
Right.
figured it out perfectly. And so embracing that, I think, is really important. And then our growth, I would say our growth is like it's 100% due to what our product does and the excitement that people have around being able to deploy these performance marketing campaigns themselves or being able to enable their team to do that and empower their team. So we have really leaned into the product-led growth side of things. And then our growth specifically is through our own product marketing. So we actually have never done outbound sales. We do not have a like big outbound sales function. We have none. And what we do have is great performance marketing, which we launched through our own search atlas campaign. So like everything has been through that.
Okay, you talked about a few things there that I want to ask about. One being just what it's like growing a company and that quickly and the culture. You mentioned before you work with an amazing team, and I think that's such a huge part of it. As you are growing so quickly, how do you make sure that you're protecting that culture? And I'm also a firm believer that having the right culture helps you be more innovative. Building a culture of innovation is something that really comes tops down. How do you prioritize that at Search Atlas?
I think it feels to me that Search Atlas is a totally different company like every 3 months because of the rate of innovation and the speed at which the world is changing. Like, I don't think that was previously true in the years that we were
Yeah.
building. Like we have always been very comfortable pivoting and being nimble. And that's something that we tell people about in the interview process because you don't want to have people on the team that are fighting, like they're resisting change. And
Right.
even sometimes if we make the wrong call, we change something a little bit too quickly, you kind of need to say overall, going fast and being innovative and being nimble, like that is going to benefit the company at the end of the day. So I think hiring is a really important part of building company culture because I'll never do a bait and switch. I tell people in the interview process, like, It's not a perfect company. We move really fast. Like if you're not the person who's comfortable saying, we built this system and now there's a better system out there, let's switch to that system in like a week, then this is probably not, you might want to find something a little bit more corporate or just a little bit different. This is a place where I think we try to build a very horizontal organization where everybody has the ability to make a big impact. The number one thing that I find myself telling new hires is like, do not be afraid to step on anybody's toes. Because sometimes that's where I see people get stuck is they're like, they feel timid about saying, hey, this system, I actually found a better way to do it. So I'm always trying to tell people, especially in the beginning, like, don't be afraid to step on anybody's toes. Take on the responsibility that you know you can have a big impact in. So I think it's really about empowering, but it's also about hiring the right people. Like if you hire the people who are just not a fit, like I don't know. I feel like hiring in a way, it's almost like dating where you're going
Very much so.
right? Like you're going to date a bunch of different people and you kind of have to optimize for the person that you're already going to be very compatible with. So that's sort of like versus like trying to change somebody and convince them of your way, right? Like you kind of have to accept that person, right? So I think hiring is a big part of it. And then, we do different things at the organization to kind of try to bring everybody on the same page. But the truth is, I think our culture shifts throughout the year. Like sometimes it feels like we're all locked in and doing great. And sometimes it feels a little bit more bumpy as we're trying to sort of like disseminate these ideas of now, okay, everyone, like you're all coders now, right? Like that's not like a 24-hour transformation because it feels like a big hurdle to surmount. So I think it kind of changes, but hiring the right people is a really crucial part of it. And also, we're very transparent. I just try to tell everybody, hey, this is what I'm thinking and this is what I'm going for. And I literally tell people like, I may make some mistakes. I know I will, like rolling this out. It'll help me roll with it. Tell me what you think could be better about this. But I try to be very like candid with everybody, which I think helps versus pretending that everything is perfect all the time.
Yeah. I found after many years of hiring, I perfected my own personal hiring process that I like that worked for me. But I did feel like at the end, there's also a little bit of gut feel that goes into that. I'm curious from your perspective, as you're growing and as you're hiring, how do you find that balance personally between I'm hiring somebody who can grow with us, but you have to make that gut check of, do I think they're going to succeed here or not? What's that look like for you?
I think my barometer is when I'm doing an interview, do I feel energized after the interview in the moment? If I find myself kind of like my energy is waning, I use that as a sort of indicator that this may not be the right fit and the right partnership between the two of us. I think the energy level of how I feel in that conversation is the biggest sort of indicator. And I do try to listen to my gut, but honestly, my gut's been wrong sometimes. And but I think it's right more than it's wrong. And you want to hire people that you also like, you're like, I really want to build with this person and I want to have deep conversations with them. And so you have to have that fit. And I feel like I try to optimize for that even more than like the perfect resume and the perfect background. Because I think especially now, a lot of skill sets are transferable. And I'll give one example. I years ago I needed a director of web development. And I ended up hiring a high school art teacher who had no background in web development, didn't know anything about it. But I just felt in those 5 minutes of interviewing her, I was like, she will figure this out. She's amazing. And now this is 5, 6 years later. She's our creative director. She's still on the team. She did an incredible job leading the web dev team. So sometimes you find those people where you're like, it just doesn't matter what your background is. I know that you are going to do a great job no matter what job I give you. And those are the people I like to hire the most is that I could put you in any role and you will figure it out. I think that's the core part of our kind of company culture too.
I love that. I love that. How do you celebrate? I mean, my podcast is called Cake on Tuesday. It's all about celebrating along the way.
Oh gosh, this is like the thing I'm the worst at. I mean, I definitely try to celebrate other people. So we do a lot of shout outs. We do a lot of sort of appreciation moments and something we do at the company, which I think is great. And I got this from Mark Hardgrove, who's the owner of the Hoth, which is like a very large agency. And he gave us this idea and it was so awesome, which is every month we do a charitable donation and whoever gets the most shout outs in our like company shout out channel that month gets to choose what charity we donate it to. which is really nice. And I absolutely love that because it also encourages everybody to shout each other out. I do feel that with high performers, recognition is more important than anything else. Like you
Yeah.
want to get that feeling of, oh, I'm like appreciated for the work I do and I got a shout out. Like those are typically like the highest performers. So I really like having that culture. And then in terms of celebrating, I think my husband, Monica, and I, we do a really terrible job of this for ourselves. And I think that this is like a common problem of running a company is if years ago you had told me you guys are going to bootstrap it to like 35 million ARR, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what my life is going to feel like. And the reality is my life feels exactly the same. If anything, it feels a little bit more stressful. Like we did not take a moment to celebrate when we blew past 10 million or 20 million or 30.
Yeah.
There really was no celebration on our side. And I think that that's a tricky quality for founders is just you always see the problems and the things that need to be optimized and the things that need to be fixed, and you don't see the moments to celebrate. So this is something that we're working on, and we have a couple different goals and benchmarks in our mind that we have said, like we've made a commitment, like we promise we will celebrate.
Oh,
When
nice.
we reach this level, like it doesn't have to be crazy, but we just have to do
Right.
something to recognize it. So I need your tips. Maybe we should Tuesday. But for us,
Cake is always good. Cake is always good. Everybody likes cake.
we do love a cake. We do.
Well, I like the fact that you're planning to celebrate. I think that's really important. I think you're planning everything else in the process. You're planning to succeed and hit milestones. So
Yeah.
planning to acknowledge it and celebrate it. That's really important. And to
Yeah.
that point, actually, I'd love to talk about what are you most excited about? What are some of your upcoming milestones? You're in a high growth space.
Yeah, we're in a high growth space. So we definitely have some like very aggressive revenue targets that we're working towards and some very, very exciting product launches that we are just all feeling like really energized and lit up by. Those are the things that I think we're the most excited about is the reaction from our customers when they see what we've launched. Like that's always the best part is they're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this is incredible. So that really energizes our team. So I think the things that we're the most excited about is that we're pretty close to some of these major launches. And then the other thing is finding those right people. I have a couple missing pieces in my executive team. And I just know that when I find those perfect people for those spots, the company is just going to reach this new level and it's going to be really, really awesome.
I think you have your celebration strategy there too, because you said, highlighting and celebrating your customers and their reaction. I
Yes.
always think celebration breeds more celebration. So it's always great when you can share it.
Yeah, definitely.
So amazing journey, Sophia. Can you share with our audience where they can find you, where they can learn more about your company if they want to follow along on this journey?
Yeah, so searchatlas.com. We also do these great free events like every month, agentic marketing summits, and I'm one of the people on there. Our team like teaches people everything about how to do agentic marketing, so it's pretty awesome. And then I'm also on LinkedIn as Sophia Deluz-Bhan and very happy to connect with anyone.
Awesome. Sophia, thank you so much for joining us for Cake on Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thanks for joining another Cake on Tuesday celebration of beautiful disruption. Please share it, review it, and find more innovative stories at podcast.cakeontuesday.com. I'm Elizabeth Bienik. Be bold, stay curious. Now go have some cake.